guys, welcome. I'm so excited you're here at my Menopause Explained launch party. And even though I couldn't be live because I guess I haven't been on Facebook long enough for them to say that I can have a live event, I felt like this was the next best thing. So this is actually recorded the day before, but I am live in the comments. So please put your name in there. Tell me hi. Keep asking me questions. Keep pushing that button because I want to engage with you as much as possible. So I am here live and I'm videoed for you kind of live. So I'm really excited you're here. And because this is a party, I actually left my water bottle with water at home and have my trusty wine water bottle here with us today. And I brought this because this is from one of my favorite patients who gave this to me. And I think this just tells you a little bit of what a relationship in the office with me was like. So after we went through her pregnancy, she got me this awesome water bottle because we spent so much time together. And she wasn't even worried I wouldn't get the joke. I thought it was awesome. So I'll be sipping my wine from one of my favorite water bottles tonight. So thank you very much. You know who you are. I hope you're here tonight celebrating with us. So let's get started. So I'm Dr. Sarah Berg. I am the founder of SELFORITY, and I'm the one who put together this Menopause Explained course. So I want to talk through, like I discussed in the launch events, I want to go through some myths together. I want to explain my why behind why I made this course and why I made SELFORITY. And then I want to answer some of the questions that you asked me in the last couple of days. And I loved them. Thank you for giving me those questions because truthfully, they're the same ones I was answering in the office all the time. And now I want you to stay to the end because at the end, we're going to be giving freebies, and I have another special surprise for every single one of you who's here today. So please stay tuned into the end because you don't want to miss out on what kind of cool freebies they're going to be available. So stick with me. So one of my favorite things to do is myth bust because there are so many crazy myths out there that make total sense. They seem very reasonable, but they're not actually true or factual or scientifically based. So I thought we could go through them together. Let me take a sip and then we'll get going because this is a party. Okay, so I wrote them down. My first myth is I'm too young for menopause, right? I'm in my late 30s, I'm 40s. I think of menopause as something that I think of my grandmother going through. So I'm having some weird changes, but that can't be me, right? Again, major, I feel like Dwight Eller on The Office, false. That is incorrect. That is not true. So a lot of women start experiencing perimenopausal symptoms as early in their 30s, late 30s, and early 40s. And we're not even going to go into people that happen to go into this a lot earlier, but even the average person who's going through a natural menopause at the right stage. Because guess what? The perimenopause period is not short. It is on average around 5 to 10 years. So if you complete menopause and go into perimenopause by around age 51, that means you could be in your late 30s, early 40s, and having symptoms. So a lot of people will come in the office with a cascade of symptoms like they can't tolerate their family anymore, or their sleep is all of a sudden all over the place and they've never had problems before, or their periods are still there, but they're not doing their regular thing. And there's a lot of very specific questions I get asked. Very likely, it's because the hormone shifts are starting to happen. And it's a long process. So it's not like it's going to change drastically overnight, but sometimes you feel like you're a new person. So guys, you are not too early to hear and need this information because I want to set you up now so that you're ready for the literally 40 to 50% of your life that's ahead of you because you got a lot of life to live, lady. Now, my second question or myth busting question is hormone therapy is dangerous, right? That's all I've heard. I can't be on hormones because I don't want to die. And get it. The news has done a lot of disservice when it in 2002 kind of gave some headlines on a study that truly wasn't even completed at that time. So in 2002, there was a study that said the opposite of what every doctor and physician and researcher had thought up to that point. Because the study was done to hopefully prove that estrogen did what everyone thought estrogen did, which was protect the body in the second half of life, keep the bones and the colon and the brain working. Well, the study results, because they were done on a very specific population with a very specific type of hormone given and a very specific amount, found some what seemed like scary results. And even before the study was published, everybody was throwing out their hormones. The doctors were being told that they were going to get sued if they kept giving them out. And even a whole group of doctors weren't even taught about hormones because they were thought to be so scary and not something you wanted to give. So this really changed the way people looked at hormone therapy. And it kind of went completely out of vogue for a good 20 years. And we are just now coming back and starting getting research and a lot of information and looking back at the research and seeing that maybe we didn't look at that the right way. So long story short, and there's a lot more to talk about with that, but hormone therapy is not dangerous in itself. Now, it depends on your age, your background information, your history of family. All that matters if you're a good candidate for it. But a lot of women who would really benefit from that therapy have been scared away by this data. And I just want to say that for most women, and again, this is generalizing, this is not true for everyone, but most women under 60 years old or within 10 years of hitting menopause, you are likely a good candidate to start hormone therapy. And that's starting it. That's not saying you have to end it by that point. That's saying when you begin it. So again, it's about knowing the options, and I go over this at length in the course, but knowing your options and knowing that you don't have to be scared just period by hearing hormone therapy from your doctor or your friend or someone in community, and not just shutting it down because you've heard in the past that people thought it was dangerous. My next myth is, love this one. I have anxiety. All of a sudden, it's kicking my hiney, but it's not due to my hormones, right? Dwight Eller, false. So it can be. So a lot of women, when they hit that perimenopause stage and their hormones are doing rocket blast up and down all over the place, that causes an anxiety shift to happen. Now, this is especially hard on women who in the past have had anxiety or depression problems. But even if you haven't, even if you've never had issue, this is a time in life that a lot of women will have their first bout of anxiety. And it rocks your world. Like, anxiety is not a little problem. And I used to tell people this all the time in the office. Like, if we treated diabetes and heart disease like we treat the disease of anxiety, I mean, nobody would be taking medications. But hear me at this. Your estrogen and progesterone changes affects things even in your brain, the neurotransmitters in your brain. And that's where your happy chemicals, are the chemicals that keep you feeling like you've done well, things are going well, everything is stable, like serotonin and GABA, live. And by those hormone shifts affecting you, your brain's effect from serotonin and GABA and dopamine aren't the same. So you don't have that same buffering system you've had your whole life. So yes, a lot of women either have an exacerbation or a worsening of their anxiety, or they have the first time ever of having anxiety and they don't even have a name for it because they've never had it before. And they think, I'm in my 40s or 50s. I couldn't be getting anxiety now. But it would be shocking to you how many women in their 40s and 50s are having their first bout of anxiety, and it is 100% because of their hormones. So there are some Dwight Eller myths busted. Hope that made sense to you. Hope you enjoyed those, and then we're going to move on. So take another sip from my cup because it's wine time. And let's move on to a little background history on me. So, since I made the course, you're probably like, who are you? Why should I listen to you? What do you have to offer? Well, for those of you who don't know me, I am Dr. Sarah Berg. I am an OBGYN and I'm a certified menopause specialist. So I went through, I got a certificate for that, as well as I'm a board certified OBGYN and practicing for over a decade in the office. And a couple years ago, I was just struggling with the idea that I felt like I couldn't give people the time in the office they needed. I felt like that 15 minutes of time, which was also supposed to be divided between their annual exam and their gynecological issues. And it would just almost be like on the side, they'd be like, can you tell me about menopause? Or am I in menopause? Or what hormone level should I be checking for menopause? And it was so hard because I love telling stories and giving information and educating. Educating is probably one of my favorite things about being a doctor. I love being able to explain things to people in a way that makes them feel like they understand it and they can bring it to others. So I wanted to spend time and educate, which was why I was often 2 to 3 hours late in the clinic, which was not great, but my patients were amazing about it because I knew I would never shortchange them on time. But that was the problem. The setup in the clinic wasn't set up for the time you needed to get the information that you need to have. And I, even being someone who loved giving information and was always running late, still felt like I couldn't give people the time and I was giving them this shortened, truncated answers. And that wasn't cool for me. So I thought, and I would get frustrated at the end of the day, and I would tell my husband, like, I can't do this. I'm not giving them my best. I'm not giving them my all. What can I do? So I took a step back. I stepped away from the office. I took time to really get as educated as possible, explore the papers, spend time in the weeds, and also spend time with my kids because they're super cool and I wanted to be around them. And I knew I couldn't do all those things at the same time. So I prioritized. And by stepping away, I had time to think and say, if I could give patients the education that I wish I could have given in the office and give it to them in a way where they don't have to feel silly for asking a question or judged, because that was another thing. People were always saying, I know this is a dumb question, ... And that broke my heart because I used to tell people I went to 4 years of medical school, then 4 years of residency in a really competitive location. And truly, as someone who'd done that much education on the female body, I didn't know at least 90% of it before I went through that manner of education. So how should you just know that in your head because you happen to be a woman? So I was thinking, okay, a way I can give them this information where they don't have to be like, I don't even know what to ask, I don't know what to do, or I feel like this is dumb and I don't want her to judge me, because we all know we've had that feeling. When I go to my kid's pediatrician, I often feel that way because I don't remember pediatric stuff from medical school, and I even learned it at that point. So I hear you, I am you. And so I thought, what can I do? And I was like, well, oftentimes people buy a book, sit it on their counter, and they never look at it again. So I love my menopause books, so I've read them, but I know I'll be like, I should really learn about business strategy or something like that. So I'll buy a book, but I can't get myself to read it. Even though I know I need that information, I want that information, it's hard to get into it. And then I also know there are about 1 billion podcasts out there on menopause, and they get really in the weeds, which is great and wonderful, but it's not as linear. And it's really hard to get that answer you want because there'll be 16 people saying slightly different things from different perspectives and in different depths than you may be at when you're starting this journey. So I thought, well, that's not maybe the right way for me to give the information. And social media is fabulous, and I love being able to post on social media, and I love being able to give information on social media. But again, it's kind of scattered. It's like every day is a different buzzword, and whatever word you send into your phone is what information you're going to get, but it's going to come from, again, 2 billion different sources, and it's hard to tell just by looking briefly which one is reliable. So then I thought, well, if I made a course and I made it in a masterclass kind of way, really in depth, answering all the questions, and I even tried to shorten this, guys, because I know it's long and it's 13 modules, but it is every single module I watch, I'd be like, oh my gosh, yeah, I have to tell them that. This is so cool information and it helps people know what's going on. So gotta give them that. So I made this course because it allowed you to watch it in your own space, in your own time, at your leisure, and without feeling like, oh, I can't believe I didn't know that. Because you could be a genius in one field and really not know anything about the other, and that's okay. Because we are not meant to know everything. But it's always nice to know about your own body. And as someone who is passionate about it, would love to give you that information. So I know that was a really long-winded way of saying it, but I made this course because I wanted it to be an easy place for you to find the information, sort through the information, and be able to go over it as many times as you want. So maybe you're not having this problem now, but down the road, you can go back to it any time because literally you have it for your lifetime. You can look back at that section. And I tried to make it easy to separate out so you can easily go back and find things. And I think you can even word search in there, which is cool. And technology is great, but I'm not great at it. I'm learning it as we go. But neither here nor there. That's a good example. I don't know about technology, so I had people help me out. I had people teach me along the way. And that's why I'm able to make this course. So that is a long-winded, but sadly short version of why I made this course. Okay, so guys, stay with me, come back to me. I know I'm talking a lot and I know it's hard to stay focused on this. Take a sip of your wine, I'll take a sip of mine, and let's go on to the next section. Okay, so thank you guys for sending me questions. I really appreciate it. And truthfully, the questions y'all sent me, reminiscent of The Office. So this is things I got asked all the time, and I love that because, guys, the answers were right there. It was great for me. So let me get my piece of paper of the questions, and we'll go through them. So I'm gonna answer 3, but don't be afraid. Like I said, keep commenting, keep talking to me, keep putting your name in there, and maybe we can find a way to answer more of them. I may be able to go back and make some posts in the next couple of days to go through these. So please, please, please keep asking me questions. I want to answer things for you. I love that. That's why I did this and that's why I'm here. So answer the questions and listen up, because this question is probably something you thought of and you didn't even think to write it down or send it to me. So sometimes you don't know what you don't know. Love it. So the first question is, literally, got this all the time in the office. The midsection muffin top. I got this all the time. Doctor, yesterday it feels like my jeans fit great. Today, all of a sudden when I button them, I've got the cute little muffin top all around it. I have never had that before. That has never been my shape. I'm not changing my eating. I'm not doing anything differently, but my pants, especially my jeans or anything that's fitted at the middle, do not fit. What is going on? So this is one of those fun things about changing the hormone shifts. So estrogen has been doing its thing all this time. And when you have a certain type of estrogen, which is the one you have when you're in the menstrual time of life, most women distribute their fat in their thighs, in their butt, in that pear-shaped locations. Well, when the estrogen starts dropping, a lot of times, even though it's not overnight, but it feels like it, the estrogen redistributes because it's a different type of estrogen that's now dominant to the abdomen. So during your menstrual time, you have something called estradiol, and it's doing its thing, and it's kind of making you pear-shaped. But when you hit menopause time frame, estrone, which is a much weaker estrogen, which is again why you're having a lot of problems, it lives in the fat tissue, and so it's living in your midsection in the visceral fat. It's in the bad guy zone. So not only does it not feel great that your jeans don't fit that well now, it's also a more dangerous kind of fat because it's a fat around your organs, and we don't want fat around your organs. We want them nice and healthy and not fatty. And you've heard of things like fatty liver or whatnot. It's because it's a bad thing. If you hear a doctor talking about fatty something in the body, it's usually not a good thing. So we don't want that. And so this is one of those changes that we know about, and we're learning of things we can do to help change it back. We call it change it back, or keep it from becoming such a problem. But I got a lot to say to that. Again, we just don't have the time tonight, but that's something that is very common, and it is because of hormone changes. Now, a lot of times people don't even change weight. So their weight is actually the same, it's just redistributed differently. Now, and again, I'll go more into this. It doesn't mean you need to change your whole life frame, whatnot, but it does mean you need to be a lot more mindful of what you eat because your body is taking notice more. So your eating habits are a lot of the benefit and will help you change that more than anything else. We're learning that estrogen, especially taken early, might help change that, but we don't have 100% data saying that, but it's something to think about. Again, not being scared of hormones if you are a candidate for it, but for sure, doing all the things you know that are healthy and lifestyle changes that you've known your whole life, but you didn't have to follow that closely, you might need to follow it a little closer now. So we'll move on to the next question. I know that's not a fun one, but you're not alone. Question got asked all the time. It's a big kick in the pants. Again, it's not physically, it's not the most important thing, but knowing that it can affect your organs, it is something to take seriously. So next question, let me look down. Doctor, my sex life, my sex drive plummet. I could never have sex and be absolutely happy, but obviously that's not right for my relationship and that's not fair. What do I do? What have I done? What's going wrong? So very common problem. And truthfully, I get asked this the most in this time period because of a lot of reasons, but this is a problem across the board. So over 50% of women of all ages report that they have some sort of sexual dysfunction. 50%. That's even 20-year-olds. So that means, and the most common one is desire. So the most common reason that people come in having questions saying, if they're filling out a survey, they'll say, yeah, I don't really have a desire, but neither here nor there. Some of them think it's bad enough to be a problem. Some of them just are noticing, mentioning, but it's not a problem in their life. So that's all ages. Now we know, we've talked about it, there's a lot of stuff going on in perimenopause and menopause time range. First, your hormones are going all over the place and changing to a new normal. That's a lot on your body. That's a lot on your brain. That's a lot on everything. So you've got that going on. And so that's making things harder. A lot of women, when they're going through hormonal changes, have another brain change that causes insomnia. Or for many women, it's waking up at 3 a.m. and feeling like they need to go through their checklist 16 times. So you're not sleeping, you're sleep deprived. That's not going to help with that sex life and feeling desire and feeling like you want to have sex. We know that estrogen affects the brain. So because I call the brain your sex organ, if your brain's not in it, if you are thinking about your to-do list, or if your parents or health is okay, or what event you have to get your kids to tomorrow, it's going to be hard to get into the moment. And then we also know that just with life, every person with age, their testosterone's dropping, and that can affect their sex drive. So there's a lot of things going on at this time frame, and we talk about it. There's multiple things, the psychosocial, relationship issues, whatnot. But it all ends up being that women feel like they're doing something wrong by not feeling desire the way they may have at the beginning of a relationship, or they may have earlier in their years. But there's a lot of things that are changing that. And I have a whole section on sex, desire, affection, everything in there. And I think it's an important thing because I also think significant others should watch so that they know what's going on with you, so that maybe they don't feel like they're doing something wrong, or that you are no longer interested in them, because there's a lot to be said. I talk a lot about how we feel desire and why it's not really how we've been taught in textbooks is really the way men feel desire, and women feel it differently. And we have a whole different pattern that they're just now starting to talk about, which makes so much more sense, but neither here nor there. Your sex drive may go down. There are a lot of things we can do about it. And again, I have a whole section on it. But it is not unusual to feel this way. It's nice to kind of think through in your brain why it is. And sometimes even just thinking it through in your brain and knowing that your brain is not on topic is enough to reroute and help you get back to a place where you feel more comfortable in your sex life and your sex drive. But again, I have a whole section. It's actually one of my favorite ones to do, because it's the one that people were either, I had to kind of reroute to get them to ask me in the office, or when they did, it was one of those that they felt so bad about themselves when they said it, like they had done something wrong, that when we talked through it, they 9 times out of 10 were bawling by the end, because they just felt seen and heard. And they felt like they hadn't done something wrong and there wasn't something wrong with them. They understood what was going on in their body, which made them feel more in control. So tons to say about that. Don't miss that section. It is chef's kiss. What can I say? Sometimes you got to brag on yourself. Anyways, next question. Yeah. Instagram and Facebook have told me, this is the question, that I need to do certain types of exercise. But I want to know, doctor, what is the right exercise for me in menopause? Like, what's the menopause exercise I have to do? And this is a big one, because truly a lot of what's going on in the internet world about how exactly you do healthy menopause is a lot of branding and targeting. And we kind of know that, but it feels so real. Like they're like, oh, they said if I do that, I'll be back to my 20-year-old body, and that's what I'm going to do. And so you start to follow, I call them the internet girlies. So you start to follow one internet girly trend, and then all of a sudden a new internet girly trend starts going this way. You feel like, well, no, I have to do this way now. I have to do this way now. Guys, truthfully, exercise is, well, let's just start with this. It's just about actually doing it. So the number one way to do exercise right in menopause is to actually do it. So here's the problem. We know that at least 40% of Americans do not get the recommended exercise, which is 150 minutes of cardiovascular activity a week and 2 strength training sessions that are 20, 30 minutes baseline. So that's supposed to be our baseline of exercising. And that doesn't include, oh, but I walk at school and I walk in my job and I walk da-da-da. That's thinking about doing it, getting moderate exercise, getting your heart rate up. So think about that. So 40%. Now the highest group of not getting it and not having it in their time wheel, 40 years old and up. So that's telling me that a large majority of women in their 40s and up, which is that age group where the perimenopause changes are happening, they are not getting the recommended exercise, which means if they're not getting the exercise, they're not going to get any benefits. So the most beneficial thing you can do is prioritize yourself, is scheduling yourself in and making that time for yourself. Don't think of exercise as a bonus thing you do for yourself and a selfish thing you do for yourself. Think about it as a way you're taking care of your health. Just like if you need to take a pill, you take the pill every day. So consistency is the most important thing you can do. There are a lot of different exercises, and I am super passionate about nutrition and exercise and health, and that being part of the preventative care that we all need. And I have a lot to say about it. It's my last section because I think it's the most important. I really wanted to hammer home. But doing the exercise, planning in your schedule, making sure you get that 20 to 30 minutes a day, at least baseline. You don't have to do HIIT exercises 5 times a week because they say it gets rid of belly fat. You don't have to wear a weighted vest because they say it's going to make your bones strong. You just have to do it. and get the actual activity done. So if you want to do anything as the right exercise in menopause, it's putting it on the clock and getting it done. Because we all know what's happening. You prioritize everyone above you. You put everyone else's needs in the planner, the doctor's appointment, the laundry you have to do, the meal you have to cook, the job interview you have to do. You put your parents' doctor appointments. You put everything, and you think of exercise as an accessory. Don't think of it that. Think it as important as packing your kids' lunch for school. You have to do it for yourself because your family and your kids want you around. And if you aren't exercising consistently, and I go through all the benefits of what exercise does for you medically, then you are going to have a lot harder time having a healthy, good quality of life for hopefully the 80, 90 years you're alive. So, soapbox, getting off of it. Gonna take a sip of my juice because I need to calm down because that one's a big ticket for me. But great question. Now, so let me put my paper up. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're going to do the giveaways, and I want to announce that you made it to the end, that every single person who watches this gets 50% off the course, but you need to buy it by midnight tonight. So 50% off, half off. I will never offer that much off on this course again. I have spent over a year putting my blood, sweat, and tears into this. This is my last child I'm giving out to the world. So this course means so much to me, and I want you to be able to watch it. I want you to see it. So half off. I'm going to put in the comment section the code. So when you go in to my website, www.selfority.com, and you go to the purchasing, you're just going to put that promo code in. And so you put that promo code in, 50% off. It's quick. Don't miss it. Do it by midnight tonight. It's totally worth it, guys. I am so excited for you to see this. So I am going to now go through and see who is here today. And I'm also going to put in those extra bonus for anyone who shared my course information on their story. I kept up with all of you. I know who you are, and I love y'all. Thank you so much for doing that. And so I'm going to put all of this into a bowl. I'm going to roll it up. I'm actually going to do it with real paper because, again, I'm not great with technology. And then I am going to announce it right after this course. So since I can't do it now because I couldn't be live, and guys, as soon as my time is up and they say that the Facebook and the Instagram people say that I can do live videos, I'm going to be live with you guys because I really, really, really want to be able to do this live. But truthfully, this has been awesome because now I know I'm going to be able to give all my attention to your comments, and I'm not going to be like going between and looking up and down and trying to find my Facebook and my Instagram. So maybe this is good for a start, but thank you so much for being here. You guys rock, and I hope you'll go in and take that 50% off discount and go purchase my course because, guys, I'm so excited about it. And I can't wait to give away some free courses. So not just one course, I'm giving away a few of them. So that's my big thank you for you guys showing up. I really appreciate it. So be on the lookout. Stay in the comments. I'm getting that going right now. But virtually, I am going to sign off. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I am Dr. Sarah Berg. I am the creator, the founder of SELFORITY, and the creator of Menopause Explained. And I cannot wait to keep sharing with you and learning from you online. And I cannot wait for you to learn with me in this course. Y'all have a great night. Finish up your wine. Enjoy the evening. Also, did you see I wore a sparkly top for you? I went out, I'm like partying style for you guys. So I will talk to y'all soon. Bye, guys.